team. We saw his teammate Innovation playing some awesome games yesterday, and we will also be casting him later today. But first, we should introduce our Protoss player.
Yeah, spawning in the top left position of the map, it is Belshir Vestige. Of course, guys, we're still on best of threes. It's the first game. It is Avenge. You have to shoot me because I totally blanked on what his team is.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna let Nathanias do the introduction of this guy.
Oh, so it's the strategical handoff. Fair enough. Well, I'm sure you know that.
I tried, but I'm gonna look it up. So if you introduce our other player, I will see if I can figure out what team Avenge is on.
All right, much appreciated. Spawning in the bottom right position, the green Terran player from Team Acer, as you mentioned, the European team. It is MMA.
So I got it. Avenge is actually playing for Team Startail. So
Okay.
Nice to see Startail sending some more players.
I feel like I knew that.
To Europe.
It's
Me too.
It's like you feel like you knew that, and then you forget, and then they bring it up, and you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, nice. Anyway, we have a Startail player going up versus MMA. You know, I kind of want to call those Koreans Europeans when they are joining the European teams, and they are staying in Europe for quite some time. So
I think of 4GG as European. He's European in my
4GG
heart.
is European.
He's my favorite
And his
European
English
Terran.
is getting so good. We actually had yesterday, after the matches, we had a Skype call with Deji and 4GG, and his English is getting so good. Like, he's really practicing it and trying his best. And yeah, you can have like a normal conversation with him. It's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I haven't actually spoken to 4GG, but he's a cool guy, cool Terran player. MMA, I don't think he's spent as much time in Europe.
No.
I feel like I remember Acer getting some sort of they have some sort of property, I think, in Germany for WCS.
Yeah, he was there for a while.
Yeah, like I believe MC was staying there as well or something, or maybe SK had their own place, but he's kind of familiar with the European scene. I don't know how much MMA ladders on Europe, but I guess Avenge probably doesn't ladder on Europe either, being another Korean player from Startail. So this should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing too shady coming up. We have the engineering bay block here from MMA, but we have the Salad on the way for Avenge, so he will be able to clean that up and get the expansion down in not too long. But he probably wanted to cancel that Salad, so nice by MMA to almost get this engineering bay to finish up here, actually.
Yeah, and he gets the SCV out, very important.
Wow,
and
nice.
this Marine actually almost gets the probe at the Watchtower, very, very close. But you're completely right. Most of the time, the Protoss player, if they don't think they're going to get Engineering Bay blocked, they will cancel the Zealot. So despite the fact that this, the Engineering Bay is still annoying, the Nexus still is delayed a bit more than normal, but that's the cool thing is even though he has a Zealot, that's 100 resources that he could have spent on something else. And MMA has his command center already going. He has the bunker on the way. He has his second barracks. He's going straight up to 3 racks here. And I love this play from him because he didn't open with gas at all. So he's investing resources as best he can while also delaying his opponent.
Yeah, so he will get the delayed factory there, but I think it's really nice with the engineering bay block because you have this mind game going back and forth. Like, okay, I'm gonna show you that I'm building a Salad, so you're not gonna engineering bay block me, and then I'm gonna cancel the Salad, and you have the mind game going on there. But in this time, it actually worked out for our Protoss player, and he managed to get the Salad out, and yeah, now he got the Nexus down.
Yeah. So pretty much this game looks like it's just going to go into a very standard Protoss versus Terran. We have the Forge coming up for Avenge before Robotics Facility. Very interesting. We also have this little 3 Marine run by. I feel like I've seen MMA do this again recently, maybe in Acer Team Story Cup, but he kind of does this. MMA likes to take little packs of Marines and just throw them around the map. He's like, just go find something. They almost ran into the Stalker, but Avenge he's been walking around diligently, and he won't take any damage from those Marines, so it's so weird.
MMA is, he likes to get that scouting off. He likes to just send some units here and there to try to just see what's up on the other side of the map. And he got the scouting off, he knows what's up, he knows that the expansion is down, and he's probably going to continue to make lots of Marines and Marauders here. That's Stimpack on the way, so he might push out here as soon as that Stimpack finishes.
Yeah, I feel like MMA wants to go for a really fast shove. Oftentimes, you don't see Terran players getting Marauders from their barracks until they already have their add-ons. So making them this soon means he wants to have a little bit of range against those Stalkers. And as we can see here, he's at the tower. He might want to go for a fast shove. And I think you're exactly right. I think it's still based around the stim timing, but sending these units out might be his way to force a Photon Overcharge so that when stim is done, when the medevacs come out, there's no Photon Overcharge to deflect his attack. So this is actually a really smart play from MMA, moving out with the Marines and the Marauder. And as long as it keeps the Marauder alive, it also helps prevent a Stalker from chasing the Marines and picking them off one by one.
Yeah, very good point. I think that you're absolutely right here. MMA is moving in with the units and is probably going to try to get that Photon Overcharge forced, but we will have to wait and see. He's pulling back, actually. He scanned, saw the Robo, he knows what's up, but I would still like to see him do exactly what you said, trying to force that Photon Overcharge so that he could push in later with that stim timing.
Yeah, I really feel like it's something that a lot of Terran players do. We actually saw Innovation just go for really, really light bio shoves, pre-stim, pre-medevacs, just to get the Photon Overcharge out of the way. If that Mothership Core gets enough energy to cover both bases, it kind of like completely shuts down the aggressive potential of the Terran player. And he does have enough almost for those 2 Photon Overcharges at 170 energy on the Mothership Core. So doing drop play becomes very difficult. And then the most you can really get a pylon or 2 on the edge of the base. So I feel like it's kind of weird that he hasn't done any kind of shove like this, but he's just macroing behind at home. He has his add-ons going, and now the medevacs are going to come out. So let's see if MMA can make anything happen once he has those drops available. We have Charge and +2 on the way for Avenge, going up to 6 gateways now.
Yeah, the MMA is moving out here with some Marines and a couple of Marauders, but I don't think he will be able to do anything. Like you say, there are Photon Overcharges, there are 2 of them, basically, so he can cover both of those nexuses. And I think that MMA, he will probably try to do something as soon as his first 2 medevacs comes out here, but he will not be able to do much, I think.
Yeah, there's really not that much opportunity available now. He actually ran a Marine in to try to see or get some scouting of the natural, and he didn't really see too much. Yeah, not really anything at all. There's like a Photon Cannon being added on, which will help against, I guess, if any kind of weird Widowmine play eventually happens. But he's getting his own 3rd base. I love this play. It seems like MMA just wants to play that standard Terran versus Protoss style where you get your bio out, you kind of, instead of trying to deal damage with the drops and trying to throw away units with those early shoves, he's just going for scouting information. He drops, it looked like he wanted to drop a single Marine once again just to stim, and he's going to do that again. He's running behind the natural mineral line, and he should be able to see the robotics bay. He does spot it, throws a scan into the main basin. I kind of like this strategy from MMA because he gets his 3rd base so much faster than Avenge.
And he sees everything with the scan. He knows the timing of the Templars. He knows that there will be storm out soon. Avenge, on the other hand, he actually started that Colossus range and then cancelled it as soon as the Marine got out of there. So we will have to see if MMA was smart enough to understand that the thermal lands would be cancelled and that storms would be out, High Templars would be out, and probably Avenge will stay on only that one Colossus.
Yeah, and he has the probe to spot the 3rd base as well, so he knows he doesn't have to worry as much about an attack coming, which, is just another great reason why, like you said, he canceled that range. He's getting an Archon in here too. So other things I like, though, MMA has his +2 attack coming in, +1 armor. Very late actual armor upgrade for the Terran player, but it's not too bad. +2 armor is complete, and we actually have Avenge going into attack upgrades. I kind of think this is interesting. I'd like to see Protoss players rush for that +3 armor. I think having +3 armor is probably one of the most important upgrades, aside from, obviously like Storm or Extended Thermal Lance for Protoss against Terran, because it really just helps shorten the amount of DPS that the Marines have against the Zealots. But MMA's getting more active on the field.
And I feel like MMA is reading the game perfectly. He's not producing a single Viking and he's making ghosts. So he knows exactly what's up. He read Avenge perfectly when he saw that range on the Colossus being upgraded. He was like, nah, you can't afford that if you're going to go for the early Templar archives. And yeah, Vikings are coming up first now, and he started to make those ghosts before because he knew that there was a possibility of early High Templars.
Yeah. MMA going for a very large drop. I don't agree with this at all. He's on the right side. Okay, he is going to unload. I was going to say trying to drop into that would be suicide. Feedbacks would kill him faster than anything. It'd be like a new world record for fastest forward killed medevacs or something like that. And he does have Storm now as well, so he can't really move in with a clump of units either.
Yeah, so now we're probably gonna go to like a long macro game. It will be hard for MMA to do any kind of damage here, and we will probably see them going up with like this. Oh wow, so close to losing both of them.
Yeah, that was really scary. If he loses both of those Templar, that's so bad, and they don't have enough energy to storm. They're just left for dead out in the center of the field. He does eventually get enough for a storm, which is kind of nice. Any damage that he could do with those Templars is more than certainly worth it. But, you know, it's kind of interesting because from a lot of other Terran players, we see these really big macro supply advantages, but it still looks very close supply-wise for MMA and Avenge, and I feel like that's a really nice position to be in for Avenge. Since MMA doesn't really have anything ridiculous going on, I'm kind of wondering how many tech units he has. Yeah, only 3 Ghosts, 4 Vikings. He hasn't really fully committed to either Ghosts or Vikings, both of which, you know, they're pretty difficult to get those at the same time.
Yeah, and we also see Avenge having that observer right outside MMA's natural base. So he scouted basically everything. He scouted that the army was moving out. He knows exactly the unit composition. So I think that it would be worth it for MMA to scan and kill that observer, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to see where the units are going. And now we have Zealot run by coming in towards the third base. There's a bunker here with 4 Marines. But the Zealots take a little while to die, so if he focuses down SCVs, he might be able to do some damage. They've kind of created this weird quasi-choke. But you made a great point. There's observers everywhere. How many observers does Avenge have? 5 observers.
And we have some Zealots going into the third base of MMA, but there is a bunker behind the mineral line, so they will not be able to do all that much. Still nice to do some... He tried to bait the army to go over there, but MMA is on top of things, and he's going to try to attack into the third base, it looks like.
Yeah, he's pressing forward. He's only using small groups of Marines at a time. This way he can't be force-fielded, you know, force-field the army in half. He can't be effectively stormed. And we have this huge rally line heading down the map. He's just balling up his forces. I have to say, though, I just really love how the observers can see every army movement. He can spot every pathway, basically. There's an observer watching over it.
Yeah, MMA really has to clean up those observers. Looking at the upgrades, they are kind of even. So nothing strange going on there. We have 2 engineering base though for our Terran player, so I guess that he will get ahead in upgrades quite soon. Yeah,
it's about to be even actually. The Vikings come up here and try to pick up a Colossus. They're not able to get it just yet. A decent storm does throw back some of the bio, but he doesn't have his full force. There does finally grab something. I think that was the mothership core he killed off. Very nice, but MMA does need to be careful. His Vikings are quite weak. I'd almost like to see him pull over some SCVs to repair those. You really can't afford to have all your Vikings this week because pretty much one storm away from losing them all. It does pick off one of those incredibly important observers of Avenge. And look at this, 3 command centers behind this. Both players at 2-2. That really favors the Terran player since, you know, the Protoss is just so, it's so common for us to see Protoss players with a supply advantage. And he thinks there's no detection. The Ghost is going to run in and try to get those Templar.
The Ghost is going in there, gets an EMP off, and get those Templars. Wow, really well played there with those Ghosts. I feel like MMA could even just move in here now with that observer gun.
Oh yeah, the Ghosts are actually going to try to perhaps focus down the weak Colossus. They're so low on health. One does fall. There's another one very low health. The Bio's going to run in.
All the Colossus are gone.
Yeah, there's not really any storm to deal with this either, so he does have the 2 Templar that were sitting at the third base. I wonder if he has anything in the main. He splits off the army. There's so much fighting here for MMA. Big wave of reinforcements coming in. Does manage to get a storm off, and the massive number of gateway units are trying to throw this back. Does manage to shove some of MMA's forces away, but he just has so much bio. The Zealot count gets diminished. The Stalkers don't last anywhere near as long as the other units. The Immortals are falling as well, and MMA is still rallying units across the map. He's got so much here, but it does look like Avenge will be able to shove him back for now. But you know,
I almost feel like MMA was overextending there. He had such a good position. He had a really big supply lead, and now the supply is almost even again. He does have the bank though, so he will be able to produce enough units to... I mean, there is nothing Avenge can do at the moment. He cannot attack into this, I think, with that production going for our Terran player. But very well held by Avenge. I do think, however, that MMA's like trick with scanning, killing off that overseer, moving in with those cloaked ghosts, and get some snipes off was really genius.
Yeah, it was a fantastic play, and the important thing to consider is that MMA, you know, the bio units, they're cheap, they're their core unit of your army, and but the Colossi, the Templar, very expensive. It takes a good amount of time to rebuild that Protoss death ball, as it were, and he will take a 4th base. He's trying to recover to some extent. These Zealots going to be sent for another run-by attack towards that 3rd. I mean, the bunker is still there. It's a little bit lower on health, but that 4th base gets canceled. The probes can't get any money. There's a couple of Templar here, but there's nothing here for them to storm or even feedback.
Yeah. Nothing you can do there. Let's see how many Vikings
Oh
are. We have
boy.
4 Vikings out for MMA here.
Big drop going in on the left side,
Big
Matalis.
drop. Wow.
He scans, he sees the
Are there
Colossus
any
leaving.
Templars? He scans to see if there are any Templars that can feed back those medivacs, and there were no Templars, so he just decided to go for it. He decided to just drop everything here in the main. Avenge is trying to warp in some Templars, some Zealots to deal with this, but he's gonna lose oh so much here.
Yeah, he's really doing a great job of shutting down the production, killing off that robotics facility. He has another group of units on the right side. He's going to run in towards the third base, it looks like. So really just dragging Avenge's army everywhere around this map. The Archon trying to move in. There's a lot of Zealots, but he can just load up, leaves maybe 1 or 2 units behind. That poor Marauder dies.
And that third base for Avenge is... Wow, he's losing so much over there too. MMA didn't manage to get that Nexus though. He has a supply lead MMA, but it's not that big, and it seems like both of them are going to secure their 4th bases. MMA already has that planetary up and running. The units in the main base of Avenge are still doing damage though.
Yeah,
really good multi-prong attack from MMA.
Yeah, such an annoying play, and this is what you do when that Protoss army gets very weak when you knock it down like that. So at that point, it needs to be all together in order to function properly, and this is how MMA can abuse it, using the bio, which is, I mean, I think we can both agree, bio very good in small numbers, gets a free Templar there. The biggest point of contention to me, I feel, Matalisk, is if Avenge can keep this 4th Nexus, that's the only way he has a chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same, and I think it's MMA is doing so many cute little moves. I love that he's scanning before he's trying to do those drops, because we see so many Terran players just moving in with all of those medivacs and just die with everything to those Templars. But good job by MMA, and he's trying to attack everywhere just to out-multitask Avenge.
Well, Avenge has some Zealots who are ready to catch this this landing 5th base of MMA, but a little bit of an engagement does get the EMPs off on the Templar. He scans ahead. He doesn't see too much. The drop is in the back of the main base by the Forge, and he might actually prevent that +3 attack from being researched. MMA scanning, looking for it. He wants to get the EMPs. There are the Ghosts. Gets a snipe off. I don't know where the observers are. I think he's managed to kill them all off. These Ghosts could cloak any second, and there they do. But, yeah, I don't think there's any detection here for Avenge to deal with these Ghosts. He's going to retreat to his 3rd base, and there's still that attack in the main.
Yeah, I'm surprised that MMA pulled back there, because he scanned and he saw that there was no observer in the army, so he could have moved in to maybe snipe a Colossus before he moved back. But he doesn't want to take any risks. He wanted to move back in case there was an observer close, and those medivacs in the main base are doing so much damage. And still we see MMA getting to a bigger and bigger supply lead, and I think that he's going to take this game, Nathanias.
Yeah, I don't know what Avenge can do. A lot of the production in the main base was shut down. The natural expansion is up next. He did manage to pick off the last observer with the army of Avenge. But the Ghosts are out of energy, and Avenge is going to actually press into this. I like this engagement for him. MMA might be spread out a little too much in this scenario, but you know what? He says so much. These Ghosts actually wreck the Zealots. MMA is just going to blast through the last standing forces of Avenge, and I think that is going to be it for game number 1. GG, Matalis.